Spoiler warning. Picture this, you've just finished your first playthrough, saving all that you could, killing those who left you no choice, but overall leaving Faerun way better than when you found it. Then you begin a playthrough as the Dark Urge, and in a blink and you'll miss it moment, you've killed everyone, transformed into horrific monsters, and become the very villain you swore to defeat just one playthrough ago. Most people I've spoken to have a favorite part of the Dark Urge's character. And that isn't accidental. It speaks to Baldur's Gate 3's ability to effortlessly transform the player's mind through gameplay, dialogue, and smart yet small changes, which is something genuinely sacred. It's the idea of New Game Plus taken to the extreme and perfected, which is what we're gonna delve into very soon. Baldur's Gate 3 has a variety of different origins you can play through, and the commonly agreed upon main character is Tav, or the custom character. But beneath every other origin lies a darker, more sinister origin that you can't encounter without picking them from the very start. A typical playthrough involves making a plethora of moral decisions, like whether or not to side with the goblins or the grove in Act 1, side with Isabel or Marcus in Act 2, and kill various important NPCs, and so much more. But you know what the Dark Urge sees you doing? Butchering the grove members and goblins alike, killing Isabel for fucking no reason, and taking every chance you can get to tear apart those in your way. And this is where everything really goes wrong. You see, Baldur's Gate 3 created a second protagonist, entirely antithetical to most people's Tav runs, that stands in opposition in every single aspect. Gameplay, dialogue, choices, impact, and most importantly, player mentality. Ironically, it's Larian Studios themselves that worm their way into your brain and say, here's the greatest second playthrough you're ever gonna experience. Go crazy. Some of my favorite moments in this game are the shock and conflict I felt waking up and seeing that poor bard turned into a puddle of gore in my camp, the relief and guilt I felt when I was able to lie my way out of it, and the first time unlocking the Slayer form. It's just a truly once in a gaming lifetime experience. And even in the Dark Urge run, there's options to resist the urge, which leads you down a starkly different path. Larian's intense attention to detail when bringing Faerun to life accidentally created the perfect sandbox for two different characters to have wildly different stories in the exact same scenarios. This is what gaming done right looks like, and certain AAA developers need to take a page out of their book. Why not share some of your favorite moments when playing as the Dark Urge below? I bet you'll definitely have some, which speaks to the iconality of the playthrough as a whole. Please subscribe. You see, most RPGs want to have an evil route or a new game plus. You know what that typically becomes? A few asshole dialogue options, no real consequences, and a pretty boring second playthrough where instead of entirely changing your impact on the world, you just pick a different option at the dreaded pick the ending cutscene. Instead of picking your ending in the final cutscene like other shittier games, Baldur's Gate 3 forces you to pick in every single second of gameplay. A Tav run chooses between betraying goblins or outright attacking them, where a Dirge run figures out how to kill them all in the most gruesome ways possible. In Cyberpunk 2077, you can be a disabled roid-raging chrome junkie, but that's it. There's no option to just off Takamura, Anders, or every other important NPC, and there doesn't need to be. But the extra choice given to the player is something that you'll find out very soon is a highly sought after idea in the gaming world. When I see an entirely different character that completely reframes the entire game in one game, it makes me wonder what games I missed out on reliving because of the developers, the higher-ups, or anyone in between. Imagine a world where Dark Urge playthroughs are the norm. Intense attention to detail, hidden interactions, different ways to play, all neatly fitted into your favorite experience. One time, I literally spent ages, like a week, figuring out how I wanted to play my Dark Urge run because I was doing Dark Urge Honor Mode for my first Honor Mode clear. Now, regardless of whether or not I've actually cleared Honor Mode, it speaks testaments to Larian's ability to envelop the player with extreme focus and thought-provoking gameplay when I spend so much time just planning a run. And if you're curious, I eventually went with a Lult Sworn Drow, Dark Urge, Sawlock build, and I'm still trying to fucking clear Honor Mode. Let me know what you think about Honor Mode because it's fucking pissing me off.
Join my Discord.
The point I'm trying to get at is that a lot of games try to do what Larian has accomplished with the Dark Urge. A new game plus that isn't boring, sheds a new light on the exact same game and makes you relive the emotion of your first playthrough. For example, a game which I love a lot could have done this exact thing, but didn't for one reason or another. Ghost of Tsushima revolves heavily around breaking the samurai's Bushido code, dishonoring yourself to save your people from the Mongol invasion. And it's full of heartbreaking moments, but you can beat the game 90% honorably outside of cutscenes. Imagine if after you beat Ghost of Tsushima for the first time you unlock fucking True Warrior mode, and Jin approaches and announces himself every time he sees Mongols, only recruits proper warriors, fights honorably, and pays the price in unique ways. It's the exact same game, a second playthrough, but now everything has a new spin, a new filter that reshapes the entire experience, but most importantly makes you feel. But the lesson we need to take from this is actually a lot deeper. Hear me out for a second. Picture a world without the Dark Urge. It probably wouldn't be that different, right? Because people would never have known what they didn't have. I think Larian exposed exactly what makes a single player game a 9 out of 10 with the Dark Urge. And that's the idea of putting in that extra elbow grease for something that most players won't really see. But those who do really appreciate, and is exactly what makes the game utterly magnificent. Barely 40% of the players even make it out of Act 2 on their first playthrough, and only a small fraction of those players even touch the Dark Urge. But those who do treat Larian with exponentially more respect and adoration because they subconsciously know that they did not have to add this. It's the mark of artists who care, and it's what I want to leave you with by the end of this video. I know it was initially a cut part of the main character, so they probably didn't have to go too far out of their way to add the Dark Urge. However, the fact that they did speaks volumes to Larian's ability to actually give a flying fart about the games that they make. I personally haven't gotten around to the original Baldur's Gates, and probably won't unless my gaming life depended on it, but I firmly believe that if we praise studios, developers, and higher-ups, and investors involved at places like Larian, then we can sort of shift the gaming landscape ever so slightly together. It's even more impressive when you realize that it's a very efficient use of resources as well. Instead of making an entirely separate route like the Witcher series, they just took the exact same route and plopped a new character with vastly different perspectives, which speaks volumes to just how good Baldur's Gate 3 actually is. I just think Larian had something really special here and wanted to share my thoughts. I have a plethora of videos delving into exactly how games either nail mechanics or fumble the bag. So if you care about passion-based, feeling-first video game experiences, then why not check them out?
Goodbye.
The human's eye twitches. He's about to blow.